My beloved child, there is a message unfolding around you that very few people ever get the chance to hear. At this very moment, someone you love has two friends who have strong opinions about you, and what they have been saying is creating a ripple that reaches far beyond what anyone expected. Before we go any further, do not skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason these words have found their way into your path today, and as this story unfolds, you may begin to recognize pieces of your own journey hidden within it. The person on your mind has been carrying thoughts about you that they rarely share openly. They keep certain feelings protected, tucked away where few people can reach them. Yet their friends have noticed things. They have watched the way your name changes the atmosphere. They have seen reactions that cannot easily be hidden. They have observed moments that seemed small at first but now appear much larger when viewed together. One friend believes they understand exactly who you are. They speak with confidence. They speak with certainty. They tell the person you love that you are different from everyone else who has crossed their path. They point toward qualities that cannot be purchased, copied, or imitated. They mention your resilience. They mention your presence. They mention the way you continue moving forward even when circumstances try to convince you otherwise. This friend sees strength in you. They see potential in you. They see something rare. But then there is the second friend. This second friend sees things differently. They are cautious. They are observant. They are not easily convinced. They question everything. They wonder whether the connection is as powerful as it appears. They wonder whether certain fears, uncertainties, or unanswered questions still stand between you and the future that seems possible. Their words are not meant to destroy anything. Their words come from a different perspective. Yet their opinions carry weight. Their opinions create conversations. Their opinions spark debates. And somewhere between these two voices, the person you love finds themselves thinking about you more than ever before. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next surprised everyone involved. The conversation that started as a simple discussion became something much deeper. The first friend began sharing examples. They started pointing out moments nobody else had paid attention to. They remembered the times when you remained kind despite challenges. They remembered situations where others would have walked away but you stayed committed. They remembered the consistency that many overlook but few possess. Every example made their argument stronger. Every memory added another piece to the picture they were painting. The person you love listened carefully. More carefully than anyone realized. They did not interrupt. They did not dismiss the words. Instead, they absorbed every detail. Meanwhile, the second friend continued asking questions. They wanted proof. They wanted certainty. They wanted answers. Yet something unexpected happened. The more they questioned, the more attention shifted back to you. Every question led to another story. Every doubt led to another reminder. Every concern uncovered another reason why your presence had become impossible to ignore. Soon the discussion was no longer about whether you mattered. It became about understanding why you mattered so much. Think about that for a moment. Imagine being the center of a conversation you never knew existed. Imagine people analyzing your actions, your character, your impact. Imagine realizing that your influence has traveled farther than you ever suspected. That is where this story begins to change. Because the person you love started seeing a pattern. They started connecting moments they had previously overlooked. They remembered conversations. They remembered smiles. They remembered unexpected feelings that appeared whenever thoughts of you entered their mind. Suddenly, what seemed ordinary no longer felt ordinary. What seemed random no longer felt random. What seemed small no longer felt small. And that realization became impossible to ignore. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The most fascinating part of this story is that neither friend realized what they were actually revealing. They thought they were discussing you. They thought they were evaluating you. They thought they were offering opinions. But beneath every word, another truth was emerging. The truth was not only about who you are. The truth was about how deeply your presence had already affected the person you love. Sometimes people do not understand the importance of someone until they hear others speak about them. Sometimes it takes outside voices to reveal what the heart has been quietly trying to say all along. That is exactly what began happening here. The person you love found themselves replaying old memories. They found themselves revisiting moments that once seemed insignificant. They found themselves wondering why thoughts of you kept returning when there were countless other things demanding attention. The answer remained just out of reach, yet close enough to feel. And that answer is connected to everything that follows. Because after the conversation ended, neither friend knew what happened next. They walked away believing the discussion was finished. They assumed their opinions had been shared and the matter was settled. But the person you love carried those words with them. They thought about them during quiet moments. They thought about them during busy moments. They thought about them when nobody else was around. Little by little, the conversation grew larger inside their mind. What began as a discussion transformed into reflection. Reflection transformed into curiosity. Curiosity transformed into realization. And realization transformed into something much more powerful. There was one specific memory that kept returning. One moment that refused to disappear. One moment connected directly to you. Every time they tried focusing elsewhere, that memory returned. Every time they attempted to move on, that memory returned. It was as though life itself was gently directing their attention toward something important. Toward someone important. Toward you. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened after that memory resurfaced changed everything. The person you love began seeing you through a different lens. Not through assumptions. Not through distractions. Not through outside noise. They started seeing you with clarity. And clarity has a remarkable way of revealing truths that have been hidden in plain sight. The first friend had been right about one thing. There was more to you than most people noticed. much more. The second friend had been right about one thing as well. Questions still existed. Uncertainties still existed. Yet even those uncertainties pointed back toward you. Instead of creating distance, they created focus. Instead of ending the conversation, they deepened it. The result was something nobody anticipated. The person you love stopped asking whether you mattered. They started asking why you mattered so much. And that question opened a door. A door leading toward discoveries they never expected to make. A door leading toward emotions they had tried to keep organized and controlled. A door leading toward possibilities they once considered unlikely. Now listen carefully, because this next part carries tremendous significance. There comes a moment in certain stories when everything begins aligning. Not immediately. Not dramatically. But steadily. Quietly. Powerfully. That moment may be closer than you think. The two friends who shared their opinions unknowingly set events into motion. Their words planted seeds. Their perspectives created reflection. Their reflections sparked awareness. And awareness has a way of transforming everything it touches. The person you love cannot easily return to the way things were before that conversation. Too much has been revealed. Too much has been understood. Too much has been felt. Even if no words are spoken right now, something has shifted. Something has changed. Something is moving beneath the surface. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the biggest revelation is still ahead. The person you love eventually realized that every conversation somehow led back to you. Every reflection somehow led back to you. Every question somehow led back to you. When that realization finally arrived, it carried a weight that could not be ignored. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. Yet it was undeniable. They understood that your influence had become part of their thoughts in ways they had never fully acknowledged before. And when people reach that level of realization, their perspective begins changing in unexpected ways. The future starts looking different. Possibilities start appearing where limitations once existed. Hope starts appearing where uncertainty once stood. That is where this chapter ends, my beloved child. Not with an ending, but with a turning point. Because the conversation between those two friends was never the true story. The true story is what their words awakened. The true story is what their opinions revealed. The true story is the realization growing quietly inside the heart of the person you love. And if you have listened this far, then remember this: some conversations fade away and disappear forever, but others become the beginning of something no one saw coming. This was one of those conversations. And what comes next may be far bigger than anyone imagined. Stay till the end of this journey, because something huge is waiting for you, and this is only the beginning. A quiet shift is taking place, my beloved child, and very few people realize how powerful such moments can become. What seemed like an ordinary conversation between two friends has now become something neither of them expected. The words spoken about you did not disappear when the discussion ended. They lingered. They echoed. They stayed alive in the thoughts of the person you love. And now, something remarkable is happening. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the next revelation changes everything. After hearing those strong opinions, the person you love started paying attention in a way they never had before. Suddenly, details that once seemed insignificant became impossible to ignore. They began noticing how often your name entered their thoughts without invitation. They began noticing how memories connected to you appeared at unexpected moments. They began noticing that every attempt to focus elsewhere somehow circled back to you. At first, they tried to explain it away. They told themselves it was coincidence. They told themselves it was temporary. They told themselves it was nothing unusual. But deep inside, they knew something was different. One evening, while reflecting on everything that had been said, a realization arrived so quietly that it almost went unnoticed. Yet once it appeared, it could never be ignored again. The realization was this. The conversations about you were not creating interest. They were revealing interest that already existed. Think about that carefully. The opinions of those two friends did not plant new feelings. Instead, they uncovered feelings that had been hiding beneath the surface all along. And that discovery left the person you love completely surprised. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next became even more unexpected. The first friend continued to stand firmly behind their view. Every time your name came up, they highlighted another quality that made you unique. They pointed toward your determination. They pointed toward your character. They pointed toward the way you continue moving forward regardless of obstacles. The second friend remained thoughtful. Yet something had changed. Their questions became different. Their doubts became smaller. Their curiosity became stronger. Instead of asking whether you mattered, they began asking why you mattered so much. That question kept returning. Again and again. And every answer led back to the same conclusion. There was something about you that refused to be forgotten. The person you love noticed this pattern immediately. No matter where the conversation started, it somehow found its way back to you. No matter what topic appeared, your presence remained part of the story. No matter how much time passed, thoughts connected to you continued returning. And that is when a powerful truth began forming. Not all connections leave such a lasting impact. Not all people remain present in someone's thoughts long after a conversation ends. Not all names carry the ability to change the atmosphere of a room. Yet yours did. And everyone involved was beginning to notice. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The person you love then remembered something they had almost forgotten. A small moment. A simple interaction. A memory that once seemed ordinary. But viewed through this new perspective, it suddenly looked completely different. What they once considered insignificant now appeared meaningful. What they once dismissed now appeared important. What they once overlooked now demanded attention. And as these memories resurfaced one after another, a picture started forming. A picture that neither friend could fully see. A picture that only the person you love could understand. Every memory pointed toward the same truth. Your presence had become far more significant than anyone realized. The first friend sensed it. The second friend started recognizing it. But the person you love was experiencing it directly. That made all the difference. Because realization changes everything. Once someone truly understands the importance of another person, their perspective begins shifting. They start noticing details they previously ignored. They start valuing moments they once overlooked. They start paying attention to possibilities they never considered before. That is exactly what is happening here. And the story is only getting stronger. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there was one statement spoken during that conversation that refused to disappear. One sentence. One observation. One comment that continued echoing long after everyone else had moved on. The comment was simple. Yet its impact was enormous. It suggested that your influence on the person you love was greater than they were willing to admit. At first, they resisted the idea. Then they questioned it. Then they examined it. And eventually, they could no longer deny it. The statement was true. Your influence was real. Your impact was real. Your importance was real. And recognizing that truth created a turning point. A turning point that nobody expected. The person you love began looking toward the future. Not the distant future. Not some impossible future. A future close enough to imagine. A future where unanswered questions might finally receive answers. A future where uncertainty might give way to clarity. A future where things left unsaid might finally find their voice. The thought appeared unexpectedly. Yet once it arrived, it remained. And every day afterward, it grew a little stronger. That is why this message matters. Because what seems invisible today may soon become impossible to ignore. What seems uncertain today may soon become clear. What seems distant today may be moving closer than anyone realizes. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The two friends still believe they were simply sharing opinions. They have no idea how much their words changed. They have no idea how much reflection they inspired. They have no idea how many realizations followed afterward. Yet their conversation became the spark. The spark that illuminated thoughts hidden in the shadows. The spark that revealed emotions waiting to be understood. The spark that encouraged the person you love to look deeper than ever before. And now, the journey continues. Because the biggest discovery has not fully arrived yet. The strongest realization is still unfolding. The most surprising chapter is still ahead. And as everything continues moving forward, one truth becomes clearer with every passing day. You have been occupying far more space in their heart and mind than anyone ever expected. Including them. And that realization may become the beginning of a story nobody saw coming. An unexpected realization is beginning to rise, my beloved child, and the person you love is finding it harder and harder to ignore. What started as a conversation between two friends has now become something much greater. The words spoken about you have continued traveling through their thoughts, and every day those words seem to carry more meaning than before. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the next chapter of this story reveals something nobody anticipated. The person you love has reached a point where silence no longer feels the same. There was a time when they could simply move through their day without questioning the deeper meaning behind certain emotions. But now, after hearing those strong opinions, every quiet moment has become a place of reflection. Every pause has become an opportunity for thought. Every memory connected to you seems brighter, clearer, and more impossible to forget. One morning, while thinking about completely unrelated things, your name appeared in their mind again. There was no obvious reason. No conversation had taken place. No reminder had appeared. Yet there you were, present once again. At first, they brushed it aside. Then it happened again. And again. Soon, they realized this was not random. This was not coincidence. This was something much deeper. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because one of those friends noticed something remarkable. They noticed that every time your name entered the conversation, the energy changed. The person you love became more attentive, more thoughtful, more focused. It was subtle, yet impossible to miss once it was seen. That friend did not say anything immediately. Instead, they observed. They watched carefully. And what they discovered left them completely surprised. The person you love listened differently when the topic was you. Think about that. Among countless subjects, countless names, countless conversations, yours carried a unique weight. Your name did not simply pass through the room. It stayed there. It lingered. It created reflection. And reflection always reveals important truths. The first friend became more convinced than ever. They quietly thought to themselves, there is something here that cannot be ignored. The second friend, once filled with questions, started noticing the same thing. Even they could not deny it anymore. Something was changing. Something was growing. Something was becoming impossible to overlook. And neither of them knew how significant that realization would become. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the person you love then experienced a moment that changed everything. It was not dramatic. It was not loud. It was not obvious. Yet it became one of the most important moments of all. They were looking back on recent conversations when a single question entered their mind. Why do thoughts about this person return so often? The question seemed simple. But the answer was not. The answer led them down a path they had never fully explored before. They started reviewing old memories. Moments they had forgotten. Conversations they had overlooked. Situations they had dismissed. And as they looked back, a pattern emerged. Every important emotional memory somehow connected back to you. Every meaningful moment seemed to contain your presence in some way. Every reflection pointed toward the same conclusion. You had become part of their story long before they realized it. That realization arrived slowly. Yet once it arrived, it changed everything. Because people can ignore many things. They can ignore distractions. They can ignore assumptions. They can ignore outside opinions. But they cannot easily ignore the truth once they recognize it. And the truth was becoming clearer every day. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The two friends eventually had another conversation. This time, the discussion was shorter. Yet somehow, it became even more powerful. The first friend smiled and said something unexpected. They said, "I think the answer has been right in front of everyone all along." The second friend asked what they meant. And the reply was simple. "Look at what happens every time this person is mentioned." Silence followed. Because everyone knew exactly what was being referenced. The reaction. The attention. The focus. The reflection. The undeniable shift that appeared whenever thoughts of you entered the picture. At that moment, even the second friend could no longer argue. The evidence was impossible to ignore. Something about you mattered. And it mattered deeply. The person you love may not have spoken those words aloud. But their actions were beginning to say them clearly. That is when the story reached another turning point. Because awareness creates momentum. Once people become aware of something important, they begin moving toward greater understanding. And that is exactly what is happening now. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the next revelation is perhaps the most surprising of all. The person you love started imagining possibilities. Not fantasies. Not impossible dreams. Real possibilities. Possibilities connected to conversations that could happen. Possibilities connected to truths that could be revealed. Possibilities connected to futures that once seemed uncertain. This was new. Very new. Previously, they had focused only on the present. Now they were beginning to think beyond it. They were beginning to wonder what might happen if certain walls disappeared. What might happen if certain fears faded away? What might happen if certain truths were finally acknowledged? And every path they imagined seemed to include one constant presence. You. That realization carried enormous significance. Because when someone starts imagining a future that repeatedly includes the same person, something important is taking place beneath the surface. Something meaningful. Something transformative. Something impossible to force. The two friends sensed this change even without hearing every thought. They noticed greater reflection. They noticed greater awareness. They noticed greater curiosity. And all of it pointed toward the same conclusion. The story was far from over. In fact, it felt like it was only beginning. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There is one final detail in this chapter that must not be overlooked. The person you love has begun seeing you not through assumptions, but through understanding. That difference changes everything. Assumptions create distance. Understanding creates connection. Assumptions focus on uncertainty. Understanding focuses on truth. And as this understanding continues growing, more pieces of the puzzle are beginning to fall into place. The words of those two friends have done more than start conversations. They have illuminated hidden thoughts. They have revealed hidden patterns. They have encouraged deeper reflection than anyone expected. And now the person you love stands at a crossroads between what they once believed and what they are beginning to realize. That crossroads is powerful. Because it is often where the greatest revelations are born. The next chapter holds answers. The next chapter holds discoveries. The next chapter holds moments that may leave everyone surprised. And as those moments approach, one truth grows stronger with every passing day. The opinions of those two friends were never the most important part of this story. The most important part was what those opinions awakened. And what they awakened is becoming impossible to ignore. Stay till the end. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the most unforgettable revelation has not happened yet.